right there. And in 1983, Howard Gardner began to study people with a mental capacity that ranged from gifted and average to brain damaged. Through his research, he came to understand that all persons have multiple intelligences. These include, but are not limited to, verbal linguistic, mathematical logical, musical, visual spatial, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic, and existential. Said intelligences can be higher or lower depending on the individual. For instance, if a person scores high with interpersonal intelligence, which means that they are good at reading people, they can simultaneously be challenged with intrapersonal intelligence, where they would not have full self-awareness. This does not mean that this person cannot develop the skills required to read themselves better. All skills can be developed. Rather, it means that this person has a natural aptitude for social interactions instead of being fully in tune with themselves. Gardner's multiple intelligences theory greatly shifted education. Prior to the implementation of his theory, school curricula prioritized linguistics and logic. The proposed argument was that children should be better prepared for the workforce, and refining their logic would grant students the necessary skill set. A teacher would address his class with the expectation that all students should understand lectures that are based on logic. This caused students to fall behind and lose confidence in their academic abilities. In the modern-day classroom, however, educators understand that each student has individual intelligences and unique learning styles that match the intelligences in which they scored higher. Being that students are multifaceted, teachers now plan their classes using differentiated instruction. This method grants teachers the capability to design instruction that would accommodate to each student's individual learning style. In an art classroom, a student that does not have a natural artistic ability is not designed for artistic failure. Since each student is an individual, their higher intelligences can be accounted for in order to successfully reach each child. According to Gardner, all intelligences can be refined. This concept can be better understood when the nature versus nurture theory is taken into consideration. In nature, a child is predisposed to express certain abilities and attitudes because of the genes that they have inherited from their parents. Nurture, on the other hand, is the response that the child has to their environment that causes them to develop skills and behaviors that are outside of their genetic code. Maintaining an open mindset when working with students that do not have set inclination is vital. Note that no student actually has a particular artistic predisposition. It is instead a separate intelligence that is manifested in fine arts. For example, a student that has refined spatial intelligence may be considered more creative because of their ability to think abstractly and see in pictures. Another student that has higher kinesthetic intelligence may have a better hand-eye coordination and thus be able to draw better from what they're seeing. Both students have strong fine arts capabilities, but they are skillfully distinct. An example that is drawn by Gardner himself is that linguistic abilities are generally used for daily communication, which do not require creative input. The linguistic skill becomes artistic when a poet uses it to create hymns and rhymes. The same is applicable for a dancer using their kinesthetic intelligence. It is important to take note that art in all its forms is not biological. Therefore, it is not a natural response that we are born with. Humans do not have an inherent inclination to create art, nor do they have an inbred ability to instinctually appreciate it. It is outside sources, such as culture and art education, that spur a child's desire to express themselves creatively. If the culture of a particular individual is very artistically rich, the intelligence for this particular artistry will evolve further than biologically intended. An art classroom also has the ability to also stimulate artistic creativity in those that are not predisposed to it. Art is unique in that it genuinely has no wrong answer. With the use of differentiated instruction and positive motivation, all students can learn to love the creative process and the content multifariously. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences claimed that the widely accepted notion of lateralizations is untrue. According to lateralization in the brain, the right hemisphere is dominated by logic and the left by creativity. If this theory was correct, all people would be bracketed into a personality that is wholly dominated by either logic or creativity. However, through everyday interactions with our students, it is easy to witness the cognitive adaptability that comes from having a multitude of intelligences.